This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X-Zone Broadcast Network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365.
Welcome to The Secret to Everything with Dr. Kimberly McGeorge. And as always, it is my privilege and my pleasure to be with you today, wherever you are in this big world, listening to the wonderful shows that the X-Zone produces and puts all over the world. And I'm really excited today. And I know I say that every week because actually every week I am excited, but I have a really good friend of mine, Mr. Greg Friedman, and he is the host of Inner Journey, and we'll be talking a lot more about that and a lot of other interesting things. We're going to kind of go down the shamanic and indigenous way, and I'm kind of calling this show The Indigenous Way. And Greg is a master at many, many other cultures, and he's a cultural guide, and he's a spiritual guide, and he's just super awesome to talk to. So I think you guys are really going to enjoy the conversation. I may have to hog into a little bit of his time, though, because I never really plan what I'm going to talk about, but today I did because there are so many things that happened in the world that I want to talk to you guys about. So we're just going to kind of run through them, and we may have to go into the next segment too. But the first thing I want to talk to you guys about is Pizzagate. And it's a horrible subject. It's an awful subject, but it's a subject that needs to be talked about. Why? Because mainstream media, which is owned by who? The people that are doing these atrocities. So I think this is a really great example, and I've got another one that happened this week too, of why stations like this that air these programs and networks like this and radio in general and the free press, what's left of it, and the internet and YouTube, and even though there's censorship and there's a big debate about that, I still think it's absolutely brilliant that we can still have this what they call the alternative press, and we can still openly debate and discuss. And I'll probably be asking Greg about some of these topics too, because I know he'll have a really unique and interesting insight. But the whole thing about Pizzagate for me is, how did we let this happen, you guys? How did we elect and pay the salaries of and put people in positions that are running child horrendous murder, trafficking, and sex rings? How? That's on you and I. That's on each one of us, whether we're in America, wherever we are, because it's not just in America. There's a whole big thing, I don't know if you guys are aware of it, in Australia that's going on with this. It's all over the world. How did we let this happen? I think we let it happen because we were lulled into the complacency of 3D reality. We care more, and we've talked about this on the show too, about our football games and our base games and who wins the World Series and what we're having for dinner tonight and what kind of beer's in our fridge than we do about the human soul and the human life. And that's why I love people like Greg, because Greg, as you will find out, definitely is concerned about, the human soul and the growth and evolution of that. Second example, and this really hits close to home. My parents graduated from OSU, met at OSU. I'm here because of OSU, in essence. And we had the whole thing with the media, and they were already screaming what? They were screaming gun control. It had nothing to do with a gun other than, thank goodness, he was stopped with a horrific thing that the mainstream media likes to call a gun. Again, they are showing you who owns them. They are telling you their agenda. Unplug from the mainstream media. Listen to more X Zone. Listen to Greg's show, which we'll be talking about. Discover and research for yourself and get to know really cool, intelligent people that know what's going on. Another thing I want to talk to you about, this also plays into the media. And I know we're going to go into Greg's segment, so hopefully Greg won't be too upset with me because I already see the time's going fast. But the fires, and there's not just fires in Tennessee. I know I've been hearing a lot about Gatlinburg, and there's fires that have been burning around Chimney Rock and other places in North Carolina. And it's hilarious to me because a lot of my clients and people in my groups were like, wait, I thought you lived in North Carolina. How do you know so much about the fires in Tennessee? And I'm like, geography, people, geography. I'm only a couple hours from the border of Tennessee. That's next to North Carolina. So I have a lot of friends there. But all that to say, again, people lost their homes, their animals, their possessions, possibly their lives, and media failed us. We are putting our lives, our spiritual lives, our emotional lives, our physical lives in the hands of mainstream media. And so many people that I personally talked to, I personally know that survived those fires and lost everything, did not know they were coming. And you guys can say all the excuses in the world. Do you guys know we have really, really high-tech stuff that can predict, exactly what time it's going to start raining in your town? Do you not think they knew that the wind changed direction and where those fires were heading? Come on, you guys. Something more is at play with the fires. As a matter of fact, I 100% know there is. And in this forum, I'm actually not going to tell you. But if you get involved with us on a deeper level, I will share exactly what information I have about those fires. So when we come back, we'll talk to Greg eventually, but I'm going to continue my rant a little longer as well.
This is Johanna Carroll, host of Dialogue with Divinity on the X Zone Broadcast Network. While walking along Kaanapali Beach in Maui this past year, I kept discovering all these shells and coral in the shape of hearts. My dialogue with Divinity was very simple. Do you want me to do a retreat to heal people's hearts in Maui next year? And of course, the answer was yes. As a master spiritual teacher, I am offering you a neat retreat called Rise, May 8th through the 12th, 2017, and the chance of a lifetime to rest at a 5-star resort for 5 days and experience a spiritual renewal of your heart and soul. Kaanapali is one of the top 5 beaches in the world. This stunning resort has undergone a $40 million renovation. I walked the entire property, checked out the room choices on your behalf, and I must say it is stunning. Our conference room faces the ocean with sliding glass doors. Maui is known as Mother Maui because it is a soft, gentle, healing energy. In the embrace of Mother Maui, you will feel yourself rising from the limitations of an ordinary life to an extraordinary journey of peace, bliss, and harmony. A greater sense of clarity. Our Rise retreat ignites renewal in the sacred elements of air, water, earth, fire, and wind. There's plenty of free time to enjoy all that Maui has to offer. A small deposit is required now to reserve your space as this retreat, it will sell out. For more details, please go to johannacarroll.com and register today. Aloha, and I'll see you in mystical Maui.
How would you like to be able to read other people's minds? Well, the next best thing is here. When you know how to read a person's name, you know how the person thinks, feels, and behaves. Each letter in our name holds a key to unlock our true essence. Our name contains both our gifts and challenges in this lifetime. Mnemology science discovers personality secrets hidden in the placement of the letters of our names, including the first and last impression people remember about us. Sharon shows us how to interpret the arrangement of letters as outlined in her book, Know the Name, Know the Person. Sharon Lynn Wyeth created mnemology science after 18 years of research and testing her theories, and has supported thousands of people around the world in understanding themselves and others better. You'll enjoy Sharon's unique teachings as she shares her system to learn the gifts behind your given birth name. Even if you don't like your birth name, there are jewels in this book. If you're thinking of changing your name, ready to name your child, or wanting to get along better with others, this is the book for you. If you'd like to improve your relationships and change your life for the better, get the book today, Know the Name, Know the Person, or visit www.knowthename.com. That's www.knowthename.com.
Welcome back to The Secret to Everything. I am Dr. Kimberly McGeorge, and I'm here with Greg Friedman, and we will talk to Greg Friedman. I know I keep promising. It's like the worst kind of teasing. In a few minutes, he is wonderful and awesome, and I know we're going to have an amazing discussion. And it's probably not even going to be the discussion that he and I think we're going to have, which is even more fun, in my opinion. But kind of picking up where I left off, there's a video circulating that I'd really like you guys to see if you look it up. And the full video is 8 minutes, and I'd love for you to watch the 8-minute escape of this gentleman and his son and his dog driving his car through these Gatlinburg fires. It is absolutely, you talk about riveting, real life, real drama, reality TV. That's some reality TV that you and I both never want to experience, but he has a lot to say about it. And really a perspective that the mainstream media, once again, is not covering at all. And don't throw tomatoes, you guys, but I got to talk about it too. Kanye West. Again, if you guys think that rant with Kanye West, why he got placed in that psychiatric hospital, he told 1/100th of what that man knows. I know people that know him personally. I know people that know what he knows personally, and they know that each other knows it. And all I'm saying is, can you imagine if he got put in a psychiatric hold for doing that, and probably threatened, as he shared with you in his rant? Can you imagine what would happen if he had told you and I all this stuff that he knows that he didn't tell you? Wowzers. Big things are happening. The establishment is starting, thank goodness, to shake. What does that mean for you and I? What does that mean financially? What does that mean spiritually? What does that mean practically? What is our responsibility as these things begin to happen? How are we going to respond? Another one, and I definitely want to get Greg to weigh in a minute on this. The whole big thing with the military, the police in Standing Rock. What's going on out there? I have talked to people who say they're being sprayed by chemicals. Illegal things are being done against these people who are peacefully protesting. Are 100% of those people peacefully protesting? Absolutely not. Are most of them? From what I'm hearing, yes, most of them are. So they're complying with the law. Why is the government? Why is the county? Why is the city? Why is the state? Why is whoever they is? Why are they not complying with the same laws that we are expected to comply with? What is going on out there? Why is there a protest? Why is it lasting so long? What do you guys think is going to happen about that? Huge, huge stuff going on. And then this just came in from one of my contacts. Wanted me to watch something that just came over the wire about today and all over the United States in 6 or 7 states, weird seismic activity that is not earthquake related and not normal. What's that about? Interestingly enough, it's in states and cities where there's a lot of underground, we'll just say things to be polite and nice, that go on. Colorado, Ohio, South Carolina, some weird activity. Be alert, be aware, be smart, be prepared. All right, Greg, I'm trying to think if my rant's over. I think it is for the moment, time being. We'll probably get back
Well,
into it
that's
later.
too bad. I enjoy your rounds.
But welcome to the Secret to Everything again. I think this is your third, second. I'm not sure. Time. I don't know which way we flip. Third.
Believe it's the third, maybe even the fourth. All right, because I'm ignorant, can you tell me what Pizzagate is, please?
Oh gosh, do I have to? It's so awful, Greg. It's so awful.
No,
So
you don't have to.
okay, no, I'm teasing. Oh, I'm teasing. I hate to joke. I'm definitely want you guys to know that I'm not joking about this, but just because it's good, because of your influence on a number of people, it's probably good for you to look deeper into it. And don't take my word for it. But Pizzagate is the WikiLeaks revelation through Podesta emails, Clinton emails, that whole thing, all the emails that shockingly, which isn't really shocking if you understand the history of this world, not just this country, but that there's child sex slavery rings operating out of this pizza shop that is owned by some of the people involved that are involved with the Clintons, and it's really blown up into this whole thing. They have killing rooms. They joke about it in their social media. It's this code, and I'm not going to go into the details of it because you guys will be like, I'm never listening to that depressing show again. But all that to say, there's a million trillion. I mean, it's obvious. Like, you could seriously research it for 30 seconds. You're going to be like, yeah, that's true. And plus, you and I know the resonance and the frequency of truth too, right, Greg? So,
Oh.
yeah, it's really big, and it implicates everyone: the Bushes, the Clintons. There is no, I'm trying to think of their name. The Romneys are involved in it. So there is no party division here. It's not Democrat, Republican. It's evil and more evil. And really, people that know about it, people that have learned about it, we need to be talking about it because it has to stop. The child trafficking in this country through, the United Nations, through other, charity organizations, the kidnapping, it's just got to stop. It's got to stop. It's a secret that's been going on forever. It goes on around. I know places that I could take you to 2 hours from here, possibly in my city. I don't know any place in my city, but I do know other places I could take you. I mean, I could go. We could turn this into a whole nother show. I mean, they transport them in Penske trucks. They transport them in PTL trucks. I mean, some of you guys see these on the highway. Have you ever thought there might be talk about human trafficking, that's crazy stuff. Absolutely true. It goes out a lot out your way too, Greg, as I'm sure does not surprise or shock you. But anyway, that's the whole big kind of thing. But the cool thing to me, and I want you to weigh on kind of everything I've been talking about. I love light. I love the frequency of light. I love it, Greg, don't you? I love, not only does it peel away in politics or anywhere, but it also peels it away in us. And that's a lot of the work you do. And I call it shamanic work. You may call it, something else. We talk about the indigenous people, and I do want to talk about that. But what's kind of your thing? I think darkness can only hide so long. I think this 666 stuff, it was only a matter of time before it was going to be laid out. And the mainstream media, who's owned by these people doing this stuff, can only say, oh, that's crazy for so long. It's kind of like the rat's out of the bag and they're all barreling down on us. And we cannot deny that truth. And so how important does our petty little lives become when we understand the atrocities that are, being committed in our cities and states at this very moment as we speak?
Well, I love that you're talking about things in terms of light and dark, because so often people think about things in terms of good, bad, right, wrong, and I tend not to do that. Instead, it's about light and shadow is not necessarily a bad thing. It's just energy. And the idea is for us to learn how to take that energy and transform it into something that we can employ to uplift not only ourselves, but those people around us as well. And, you were talking about you love light, and I agree so much. People can spend their entire lives chasing the dark and trying to beat the dark down. I don't believe in that. I believe I'm going to light a candle, and the brighter it becomes, the more the darkness will take care of itself.
Yeah, and I love that too, because you guys are like, oh, who does she think she is? Talking about this, talking about that. one of the things, though, I love about, you talk about the shadow. We all always will, I believe. I don't think we ever, and, obviously I want you to weigh in on this. I don't think we ever get to this 100% light saturation point on this plane, at least at this time. And I'm not sure what you teach or believe about that. But I find it interesting and fascinating to watch the play of shadow within my own energy field, which is so brilliantly illustrated when we have this technology. There's nothing like looking at your aura, Greg, in like bright colors and being like, wow, there's a shadow. I mean, it looks like a shadow. It's black. It is a shadow. And you're like, oh, I guess I'm not so, little Miss Mary Sunshine after all. But it's cool when we can use that shadow. And I absolutely agree. The lower densities, I sometimes teach people, and I just did this at a retreat I taught. I teach people how to turn down their frequency, which shocks people because everybody's like, let's rise our frequency. Let's go out of body, all that. We're all like, let's seek the light. I teach people how to go back into the density. And you and I both understand there's huge purpose and learning and miracles that happen in the density, in the shadow places as well.
Oh, yeah. I am mind, body, and spirit on this planet in this form at this time. I don't want to be just this ethereal being. I am dirty and muddy and imperfect and flawed and screwed up, and I want to embrace all of that and all the flavors and the different intricacies and subtleties and lessons and gifts that they have to offer in the not-so-pretty form.
Yeah, absolutely. Can you say this, your screwed up part again? I like how you said that. No, I'm just kidding. You guys have to know.
I am dirty and muddy and screwed up, and I love it for it. I don't want to be ideal.
It's the authenticity, and that word is like a buzzword right now in like life coaching and motivational speakers. But when someone comes out as Greg and just says it like that, you guys can hear that ring of authenticity. That wasn't like a fad statement that he planned for marketing purposes. But let's rewind a little bit and let's talk about how you came to do your radio show, kind of how that happened, and what you do. Maybe talk a little bit about your trips and your coaching style and kind of how you came to this point in your life and what's going on with you now.
I would love to, but if it's okay, I'd love to circle around something you were talking about earlier.
Sure.
How mainstream media is really falling short, and we're permitting it. I look at mainstream media today a lot like Russian media was in the 40s and 50s and early 60s. And the word that was most often used in those terms to that kind of media was propaganda. We are incessantly being fed two things through media, and it's disguised as news. One is propaganda, and the other is commercials. If you look at most news programs, they're going to tell you the same stories in the same order at the same time, and that's a little too coincidental. Also, you're going to notice that when they're owned by Disney, like ABC, then all of a sudden there's going to be this product or this event over and over and over again. What we are accepting as news is just one big, long commercial. And even newspapers are failing us. Before, we could get the flavor of a story from a news thing on television or radio. And then we'd go to the newspaper and we'd get the details and the depth and the breadth of it. But now it's going from superficial veneer to another version of superficial veneer. And it's really sad. I was listening to Bernie Sanders the other day. He was being interviewed, and he said something that may seem obvious, but it's so resonant. Today, more than ever, it is vital that we remember that democracy is a verb. It is something that takes active participation. We need to stand up. We need to be involved instead of just defer. Because what happens when we defer is we allow a lot of greed. We allow for a lot of indulgence in people's own little pet projects or pockets, as it may be, instead of what may be of service to our nation, our individuals, our people, not only in this country, but in the world. You're not the only one that can rant.
I'm not. Like, that's wonderful. I have some things to add to that, but we'll be back and we'll be learning more about Greg Friedman right here on The Secret to Everything with Dr. Kimberly McGeorge.
While science pursues fact, magic accesses the quantum level, bridging random facts to form truth. As long as science and magic remain separate and polarized, the truth cannot be known. I'm Gwilda Wiyaka. Join me on the Science of Magic radio program, dedicated to unification and evolution of consciousness. During each episode, I'll be speaking with experienced and respected scientists and mystics. From astrologers to astronomers, from medical doctors to shaman, the scientific method to dowsing and intuition, we'll weave together information from seemingly divergent practices to promote unity and enlightenment. Join me, Gwilda Wiyaka, and the Science of Magic right here on the Mutual Broadcast Network. For more information, visit www.thescienceofmagic.net.
Gibbs A. Williams, Ph.D., is a practicing psychoanalyst, supervisor, researcher, and author in New York City. Much of his life has been dedicated to understanding nature and the uses of meaningful coincidences or synchronicities. His radical and original non-Jungian, non-mystical, non-magical theory of synchronicities illuminates much of the fog surrounding this challenging and perplexing topic. His ideas and manners are fresh, presented in a style that is both entertaining and highly informative. He is also an expert on crisis intervention, specially focused on violence reduction for the police and citizens, mastering anxiety, frustration, and stress without the use of medication, and effectively preventing and treating heroin addiction. Dr. Williams can be contacted at his email address at gwwilliamsny11@aol.com or visit his website at.
Wouldn't you love to know the secret to everything? Well then, meet Dr. Kimberly McGeorge and her cutting-edge, breakthrough knowledge that combines science with possibility. Dr. Kimberly brings real-life answers and healing to those open to alternative solutions. She teaches solution-based programs and classes that will change all areas of your life forever. Specializing in conscious creation, intuitive readings, and energy medicine, you can rapidly shift health, relationships, business, and money and abundance challenges quickly. Receive her best-selling book, Secret to Everything, at no cost by going to secrettoeverything.com/X-Zone. That's right, transformation can start now. Just go to secrettoeverything.com/X-Zone and receive Dr. Kimberly's book for free.
Afterlife expert Roberta Grimes was the first one to say that dying can be fun. Now her best-selling book, The Fun of Dying, is available in stores worldwide. So if you wonder whether death ends life, how it feels to die, or what heaven might be like, The Fun of Dying was written for you. And if you have always been afraid of death, or if you worry that your life has no meaning, let The Fun of Dying ease your fears and bring new meaning to your life. Nothing said in The Fun of Dying is based on the teachings of any religion. Instead, Roberta draws on evidence to explain how death happens, how it feels, and what comes next. A lot of the best death-related evidence was produced in the first half of the 20th century. When it is put together with recent discoveries, it tells a consistent and amazing story. Roberta Grimes blogs and answers questions at robertagrimes.com. Her wonderful book, The Fun of Dying.
You are listening to one of the most progressive shows in the world, I believe, and one of the most cutting edge shows, certainly about frequency. And we are on the X Zone, and we are with Mr. Greg Friedman. And Greg is the host of Inner Journey, And Greg, before the break, we were kind of talking about a number of things, but I want to swing back into, could you kind of tell us about your own journey to becoming the host of Inner Journey and share with us kind of the overall picture of what you do? And then we'll dive in further to some other things.
Absolutely. I'm going to tell a big, big secret. And
Woohoo!
things that almost nobody knows, but it is so important for us to know. People that do what I do, that are psychologists, that are life coaches, that are people of service, are often doing so. And this is going to shock a lot of people because they are the most screwed up people on the planet. And we figure that if we could take and be of service to other people and teach lessons, at least for me personally, because sometimes I'm a very, very slow learner, then I get to learn from myself. And being of service is the most gratifying way that I found, the best path for me personally, to be reciprocal in my own life, to uplift my own life, my own path, by giving. It's just that simple. And I have been really blessed to both have my booty kicked all over the place and been taken under the wings of more than my fair share of indigenous elders, that from the Yaqui tribe to the Lakota tribe to the Aborigines in the outback to shaman, both here and also in the jungles of Peru. And they have gently and harshly taught me over and over and over. And then they kicked me out into the world and said, now it's your turn. Go teach. Go share this message. Go help other people. Go be of service. And I do that in a number of different ways. I work with people one-on-one, teach workshops all over the world, take people, and this one's so much fun. It's so cool for me. I take people to exotic places all over the world to work with indigenous elders one-on-one. And I do that because the truth is simple. And so often, when we're here in a Western culture, in an urban society, we put so many other stories, so many other things, gook and mud and layers and layers and layers onto it, and we get our noses so close to the mirror that we have no vision, we have no perspective. So I take people out of their normal environments, out of their normal world, and into something completely foreign to work with somebody, aside from myself, that can say what they have to say in the most simplest of terms. And therefore, it could be heard, and therefore it could be ingested. And it is astounding to see transformations. You go on a journey. For example, we take a group of people down up a tributary of the Amazon in Peru, 10 hours on a tuk-tuk to work with Shipibo Indians in the middle of nowhere. And these people are freaked out, and I understand why. There is nothing familiar here. There's no side of the pool to hold on to. That means you're going to have to trust that you could swim. And the funny thing is, they do. And the hardest part doesn't turn out to be that time in the jungle. The hardest part, and I know you know this, Dr. Kimberly, most journeys begin far, far before the actual event. And then they integrate far, far afterwards. And the most work I ever have to do on any journey is the day that we take people out of the jungle. And the reason I found for that is, in the jungle, because the truth is simple, everything makes sense. And then as you come out into a more Western culture, into a more urban society environment, it's very, very difficult to create the bridge from the truth to the application in our everyday lives. And that's really what I do better than anything else. I am a really lovely bridge, and I'll walk across it with you and I'll guide you. But the reason I do it that way instead of doing it for you, so many people you go to say, hey, I have the answers. I don't have the answers. I have a whole bunch of questions. And I want to ask those questions because I want you to find your answers. That way, it's your power, it's your choice, and it's your happiness, and it's not dependent upon me. It comes from you and through the ethers.
There's so much to dig into there. One of my old marketing sayings was, I'd like to be your last healer. And everybody got all offended about that. And they're like, oh, you think you're better than everybody and you think you can heal people. And I didn't mean it like that at all. I actually meant it how you just so beautifully explained it. Like, I want your journey kind of to end with me, that relentless seeking and buying the next self-help book and listening to the next radio show, even great shows like this one and like yours. And you know what I mean? And being addicted to the telesummits and going to the rah-rah cheerleading personal motivation events. At some point, we need to kind of flip that inward and become our own healer, become our own teacher. I'm all about, as you are, empowering people to really find their own path, find their own way, empower themselves, ultimately heal themselves, and just be, who they were created to be them, and that's it. And that's the simplicity that does get lost in all these programs and all these books and all these 10 steps to this. And even sometimes I bring in the technology and you can get drowned in the technology. So one of the things though that the technology does tell us that fits in with what you're talking about the jungle and getting away, is everyone that we run on the tech, it comes up that they need something really simple. And it's astounding how the body's just asking for such a short amount of time, and the mind and the emotions and the energy field. It's asking for 5 minutes of silence. 5 minutes. The body screams for that unplugging and that breath, which is what you really help people. I think that's probably one of the first things people reconnect with, the rhythms of their bodies, the slowing of the nervous system, the switching off of that hyperstimulation that we have in the Western culture. And so I think that's really, whether you do it on your own and you go, on a hiking trip through the woods, or whether you go off to the jungles, it kind of brings you to that point of unplugging from all that. And you know what? It's also actuality. It's actual EMF. When we see EMF maps, when we map people's homes, it's crazy. It's like practically solid in EMF frequency. And when you go away to these less, I'm not saying there's not any there. I imagine if we're on the same planet, the way energy travels, I imagine there is some, but because energy knows no distance, right? But I imagine there's less. And so the actual physicality of what you do, taking people to these more remote places, really does literally unplug you quite a bit from the EMF, the electrical grid, wouldn't you say?
Oh, amazingly so. I want to work my way back into that. You were talking about your old slogan and about wanting to be the last healer, and I couldn't agree more. I got to tell you, as a warning, if anybody out there that professes to be a teacher, a healer, a coach, a psychologist is going to tell you that they know the light and the way, I'm going to tell you they're full of it, because that is, in my estimation, incredible arrogance. How are they going to know your path? How are they going to know your timing, your process, what's appropriate for you in your life? The truth of the matter is, only you can. Now, people like Dr. Kimberly, people like myself can help, can guide, but we're not going to tell you the answers, because if we told you the answers, they'd be our answers, not yours. And what Dr. Kimberly was just talking about is brilliant. 5 minutes of your day, 24 hours in a day. There is nobody that can't tell me that they can't spare 5 minutes to literally and figuratively unplug. I guarantee if you do this for 8 weeks in a row, 5 minutes a day, that's all I'm asking, that's all Dr. Kimberly is suggesting. You do this, you will see a marked shift in your peace, in your happiness, in your productivity, and really, oddly, your ability to connect with yourself and therefore everybody else as a result. I agree entirely, Dr. Kimberly.
Yeah, and I love that you made it so practical and challenged the audience to do that, to actually do that. And even if you have to mark it off or put it in your schedule or put it on your calendar or put a reminder alarm in your phone, all those crazy high-tech ways we have of reminding ourselves, it is certainly a worthy endeavor. And, the shocking thing that I have to admit is I'm hard pressed to do that. It is supreme discipline for me to wrestle myself out of just the multi-track things that I do every day and go to that place. And I shared with you earlier, I do it by, which is kind of the cheater's way, by taking, and I get more than 5 minutes usually. Sometimes I don't, depending on the dogs and the kids and the clients. But, I take naps, and that's my way. I just totally crash and unplug. And then, of course, I've got to tell you though, Greg, it doesn't always work with the 5 minutes of silence. A week or so ago, I laid down to take a nap, and I heard, because that's one of the ways I get information. I heard, when you close your eyes, you will see. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. Like, yeah, everybody knows that. But no, when I closed my eyes, what I thought was going to be a nap turned into this tremendous geometric symbol thing and information thing. And I was getting like rewired, and it was crazy. So sometimes you strive for that, and you even get something you get something more. So go into that with no expectations. And I love what you're talking about. And this is so different from 90 to 95% of the life coaching industry, the healing industry, the medical field, and everybody else. You're so used and you're programmed from birth to go and ask other people. You ask your priest, how should I find God? You go to the doctor, how should I heal my blisters all over my body? You go to your mom and you say, may I have permission to go to my friends? We're so used to going outside ourselves to find wisdom and answers. And I love what you said and what you and I both teach. People even ask me, they're like, oh, how do I fix this? Or what frequency do I use for this? And sometimes I say this, I say, I don't know. And they're like, how do you not know? I said, well, the reason I struggle with this, or the reason I can't sleep, is a million trillion times different than the reasons why you can't sleep. So I'm not going to teach a sleep class on what you can do to sleep. Yes, there's general principles, but as far as why you're not sleeping, that requires, let's work together, me as the guide, as you do too, Greg, and let's figure that out. Let's figure out why you're not sleeping. Because out of 7 or 8 billion people on this planet, each person that's not sleeping has their own unique combination of factors. And you guys can apply that to emotions, or to depression, or to what? The big one, finances, or purpose, or career, or anything. It's individual.
It is
individual.
So much so. You said 2 things that I really, really love. One of them is no expectations, and the other one is I don't know. And I think those 2 things really dovetail into one another. I don't know is probably the thing that will make me trust an individual more than anything else. If it's a mechanic or a doctor, anybody else, if they can tell me I don't know.
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X-Zone Broadcast Network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan, and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365.
I am Dr. Carl O'Helvey, founder, president of a new cancer foundation focusing on evidence-based physical, mental, and spiritual interventions, including natural cancer cures, prayer, meditation, affirmations, nutrition, and other related holistic cancer prevention and cure modalities. These are used in cancer education, research, and financing care. I ask for your help to continue this important work by donating at www.holisticcancerfoundation.com.
Wouldn't you love to know the secret to everything? Well then, meet Dr. Kimberly McGeorge and her cutting-edge breakthrough knowledge that combines science with possibility. Dr. Kimberly brings real-life answers and healing to those open to alternative solutions. She teaches solution-based programs and classes that will change all areas of your life forever. Specializing in conscious creation, intuitive readings, and energy medicine, you can rapidly shift health, relationships, business, and money and abundance challenges quickly. Receive her best-selling book, Secret to Everything, at no cost by going to secrettoeverything.com/X-Zone. That's right, transformation can start now. Just go to secrettoeverything.com/X-Zone and receive Dr. Kimberly's book for free.
What Happened in Benghazi is revealed by Nicholas Genix, author of Obama, Islam, and Benghazi. He informs the American people that President Obama deceived them by advocating a strong foreign policy prior to the 2012 presidential election, and Hillary Clinton supported this deception. As the title infers, there is a connection between Obama, Islam, and Benghazi. Ample evidence informs Americans that Obama's early indoctrination in the Quran developed an affinity for Islam, why the Quran is the source of discontent in many countries, and why the Obama foreign policy deception led to poor military action and caused the loss of American lives in Benghazi. Genix provides 36 questions for the Select Committee on Benghazi to validate if Americans are justified to mistrust President Obama and Hillary Clinton. An overview of Obama, Islam, and Benghazi is presented on the website www.futureofgodamen.com. That's www.futureofgodamen.com. You're listening to the X-Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net.
Welcome back to The Secret to Everything. I am Dr. Kimberly McGeorge, and we are back with Mr. Greg Friedman. And before the break, we were kind of discussing how each person's path to healing is absolutely individual. And Greg, do you have anything that you're working on now or promoting or teaching about or going on with the show? Why don't we haven't really talked much about your show. Why don't you tell us about your show and kind of what kind of guests you interview and what your intention is in even doing this show?
Well, thank you for that, first of all. You and I start to sit down and talk, and we could talk forever and ever. It's one of those things that I really, truly treasure, and thank you for that. Inner Journey introduces people to paths, possibilities, and their own personal power. I know that's a whole lot of alliteration, but it's really the truth. What we do is we answer questions directly about sex, relationships, dream interpretation, any personal growth question, and we're also privileged to have some of the greatest thought leaders in the world today on as guests. People like Don Miguel Ruiz, Doreen Virtue, Marianne Williamson, Jack Canfield, so many people, Dr. Kimberly, who really just bring such insight and wisdom them in perspective. And I'm a kid in a candy shop. I get to ask these guys anything I want, and I get to share it with you. That's one of those things, and that's why we do the show, is because there's so much out there that we haven't seen. And maybe if I introduce you to this pathway or this possibility, it'll be something you go, oh, cool. I thought I was going to take the freeway. Now I'm going to take the scenic route. And whichever pathway is appropriate to you is the right one for you. As far as the other stuff, the reason I work with people one-on-one is it is so gratifying to see an evolution of a human being, to see people wake up to themselves, to their own fantastic, beautiful, wonderful beings that they are. And one of the most accelerated ways I do that, and one of the most gratifying to me, is because I am a jungle boy at heart, just taking people all over the world. We have a trip coming up to Peru next year, and then more likely than not, we're also going to do a trip down to Panama, where we go work with an indigenous tribe down there. Also, we get to swim with whales and dolphins in the wild and go up so close to them you could actually touch them. It'll blow your mind. And working in the jungles of Peru, a shaman, and with plant medicine and teachers that have been handed down wisdom generation after generation, it blows your entire construct of what you thought the world was out of the water. And it opens you up to so much in so many different ways. And it does that for me every single time I go down there. So it's a gift to me that I get to be of service to the world in this way. And if you want to find out more about that, my website is my name, simple as pie, GregFriedman.com. Friedman spelled Friedman. And the show is called Inner Journey with Greg Friedman. And Dr. Kimberly, I know you mentioned this earlier. I have been privileged to be out at Pine Ridge. I was out there this summer doing ceremony.
Okay.
And I was allowed to participate with the Lakota Nation to be a part of that whole ceremony that was going out there in the middle of the summer. And a lot of the people I know, a lot of my friends, a lot of my family are out there right now on the front lines. And we're going to have our show this Sunday is going to be people calling in from the reservation to talk about what's going on, why it's important, and how this little microcosm can affect your life if we don't nip it in the bud, if we don't allow the government just to do what it wants because it wants to out of greed. Instead, if we make it be a servant of the people, how much more beneficial that could be.
Wow, that sounds like a really amazing show. So you guys will have to listen to that. Do you have any insider tidbits or thoughts what you've heard then that's going on currently right now?
Yeah, on Monday of this coming week, theoretically, they are planning to bring in the military to forcibly remove people so they can install a pipeline on land that was given to the Native Americans, given is an interesting term, or designated for them eons ago because people wanted to take from them even then. And this is just a repeat of history. It's that, and the reason I say that this is important to us is because if you look at the direction our government is going towards, it is a government by the corporations, for the corporations, and of the corporations versus by the people, of the people, and for the people. And this, if we could work in the microcosm, then we could nip it in the bud before it becomes an endemic problem that affects our lives every single day in a multitude of ways.
And, I think that might be one of the most brilliant things you said on the show today was the whole corporation tie-in. Unfortunately, it really is true. And even though the corporations, the people that run our media, they even put out a new TV show that I haven't watched the whole thing. I only watched a couple minutes. And I actually sometimes encourage people to watch TV because they tell us what they're doing. They tell us who they are by these programs they put out. And I think there's a program called Corporation. I'm not sure if that's the name of it, but I think Ben Affleck is one of the executive producers. And I think it's on Sci-Fi, interestingly enough, not too surprising. But it's based on what you just said. And it's this mirror, right, Greg? Like, really, this is the reality, what you just said. And I imagine what's on that program is probably the future if we extrapolate what's happened here and allow it. And so the fact that so many people, including veterans, and many, many different groups of people. There's herbalists out there. I know a lot of herbalists are out there. There's just brilliant, amazing, beautiful people from all over the world, not just this country, but also all over the country, even from the East Coast, from Canada, are going out there to stand because they realize what you just said. And I think it's worth rewinding or catching the replay of this show and listening to it again just to hear the last 10 minutes, because what Greg said, and you can use this situation, you can use Pizzagate, you can use the fire, you can use whatever you want. But what Greg said is true for every single person, not just living in America, but actually living in the world today. We must stand with each other against those that would wish to take our freedoms. And that requires what Greg and I have been talking about, personal and individual action. And that action may be writing a check to donate to the cause. I saw people collecting things for the medical care for the people that are being wounded out there. It may be driving out there yourself. It may be sponsoring someone else that's driving out there. It may be doing intentions or lighting a candle or prayer. And it may just be being very vigilant and educating, whether you have a blog or a radio show or even sharing posts on your Facebook. But we need to stop chit-chatting. You know, this isn't entertainment to me. This isn't entertainment to Greg. And this certainly isn't entertainment to the people that are out there. This is not why we do our radio programs. And I know you feel the same way, Greg. We do it to greatly change the world. Not just this little program. You're like, oh, that's cute. Oh, that's sweet. Oh, that was a nice guest, Greg or Dr. Kimberly. No, this is to by our little, ripple, butterfly effect, beat of the wing, whatever you want to say, however you want to look at it, lighting the candle, as you said at the beginning. Our intent, my intent anyway, I won't speak for you, is to radically make the world a better place. As a matter of fact, my slogan for next year that came in is radical light. And that's all I desire. And however that shows up will be a journey that we take together. And I know you feel the same. So GregFriedman.com, Inner Journey. What time is that on? What is the station? Call letters, Greg?
From 7 to 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. It's KX 93.5 if you're in Southern California, or KX935.com if you're anywhere else in the world.
And I thank you so much for being on the show with us today. And we will definitely have you back. And maybe someday I will wander my way back to you as well. So, and Google Greg if you want to follow him on any social media. He's out there and very accessible as well. And please join him on one of his beautiful and amazing trips. And just to highlight a couple things that we're doing in thesecrettoeverything.com. First of all, we're working on our website. Check it out. It is awesome. There's a lot of free material we've started uploading, a lot of subjects that I teach about that are available for free resources on the website. As well, we are now offering a free aura scan. I mentioned aura, I mentioned technology. That is my passion. That is what I dance in most of the time, and I dip into a lot of other things as well. You get a chance to experience that technology free. We will give you a picture of your aura, and we will tell you quite a few things about it to get you started on this journey of exploration and healing yourself and helping yourself and having that self-actualization and insight into what's going on in you and your life. Right now, we're offering beautiful holiday meditations on light and love and joy and hope. No, the Secret to Everything does not just talk about negative things. We also talk about many, many positive and amazing things. We also have a high level group of people that are passionately interested in all these kind of things called Ultimate Awakening. You're welcome to join us. It's a membership program. You get frequency MP3s. You get an in-depth RS scan every month. You get we're going to be doing a free kind of class. I think we may be doing Chinese medicine. So you'll get that module every month and so much more. Just the group and the fellowship that we have is absolutely amazing. So check us out on The Secret to Everything. Next week, one of my good friends, Jody Cook, he is a top expert, top in Bigfoot, cryptozoology, and dog man, and we will be having him on the show. Another good friend of mine, another great conversation. Thanks for checking out The Secret to Everything. I am Dr. Kimberly McGeorge. Have an absolutely amazing week.